Good morning or evening, should I say?
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Who we got in the room? We've got James Sutton from Butterflies Healthcare.
Good evening.
Darren Coles from, Darren, sorry, let you all introduce yourself because it's rude of me to. So, guys, just introduce yourselves first. Darren.
Hello, I'm Darren from Galleon Graphics, now limited.
Oh.
I'm male. I wear a hat sometimes. I also do a Knowing Your Business show with Ian, and I work on a couple of projects with Paul over there.
Moving on to you then, Paul.
Oh, hi there. I work for e-swoosh Limited as an IT consultant.
James.
I'm James Sutton, Director of Butterflies Healthcare, and we're an online retail company.
Fabulous. And Juliet, who's our theme for the evening. I'll let you introduce yourself, Juliet, please.
Hi, I'm also known as the Witch of Stitch now. I run a business called Desire Tattoo Bags, and it generally started with making bags with tattoo designs on.
Fabulous. Who wants to fire a question straight into Juliet? Because Juliet's the Witch of Stitch is our topic of conversation this evening.
We haven't done you yet, Ian.
I don't bother. So,
I'll start then. I'll start.
Cool.
Like, where'd you get the name Witch of Stitch from? What the hell's that all about?
It started because I basically was given a task of making a particular item of clothing for my daughter, and I had no pattern to go by, and it's something that I've never done before, so I just kind of did it, sort of threw it out there. It went into the cauldron, and I just cut it, sewed it, made it, and it came out great. So it's a bit of a Witch of Stitch because I'm not quite sure how I did it.
Cauldron of ideas.
Yeah.
James, got anything to throw at Juliet, sir?
What's your full range of products that you do then, Juliet?
I do a real bizarre mixture. I do things, there's the lace work that I do, so I can do lace moustaches. They're quite fun. They do look quite funny when you put them on, I've got to say, especially if you're a woman. Then we go up to, seasonal things like Christmas stockings. I've even done embroidered postcards, which are quite sweet. Valentine's Day, they're really nice. I really enjoy doing those. Handbags, even quilts. I've gone up to doing a full range of patchwork quilts, so it's a real big mixture.
So it's a different size stitch, I assume, for quilts as opposed to a moustache, is it? So
yeah, exactly. I could, of course, put moustaches all over quilts. That would be really unique.
Have you got any demonstrations? Sorry, James.
That's right, I was going to say, I can feel a theme coming on from November next year.
Yeah, we did actually do one last year. I actually put the moustaches I made up, and there was a donation off of each sale would go over to Paul down the end there, because he was actually doing November.
Hi there, dog.
No, that was a question. Can you answer that?
Oh! Typical, the doorbell would go when we were in the middle of there.
It's great. That's
It's
perfect.
It's real then, isn't it? It's real life.
Darren, have you got any questions for our Juliet, please, sir?
If I was a customer wanting a bespoke order, like something specialist, how would you walk me through that? How would you get to the nitty gritty of what I want? Knitting gritty, is it? Of what I want?
For a start, if it's a bag, which is obviously what I really started doing, I'd need to know what you are using this for. Are you using it for just going shopping, or an overnight bag, babies, items that are going in it? Because then that gives me a kind of idea of what sort of size you would require, and then we'd discuss things like themes that go in on the bag. If you want it to go with quite a dark theme, sort of dark tattooy theme, or if you wanted something more neutral, perhaps flowers, etc., then we could run with that. So it's quite a long discussion process with some customers, but other ones are really, they've really got the idea down. They know exactly what size, what style, and what things are actually going onto the bag. So they'd come to me and say, I want a bag that is, 15 inches wide, 12 inches tall, whatever, and I need that with this design on the front of it and so many pockets, and then I'll take it from there and just come up with it.
And what happens if I'm going to be slightly difficult, saying this bag sometimes needs to have bricks or a cannonball in the bottom of it, or a bowling ball?
Well, in that case, I'd find a way of actually incorporating that into there.
Okay.
Never easy, but sometimes things do just suddenly come to you and you think, right, okay, we'll put maybe a hidden pocket at the bottom or something, so you can.
I like hidden pockets.
Yeah, that's good.
But how have you got to a position where you know how to do, where instinctively you know how to make a pocket or make it strong and open? How do you go about? Who taught you?
Nobody. I taught myself, basically. Basic skills were taught when I was quite young, probably 5 or 6, the very first basic skills on a hand crank machine, as well as hand sewing. Then it's kind of developed from there. It was the case of just making little bits as I went along, maybe following some patterns. And then after a while, I just kind of thought, well, I'll just pick it up and do it. And to be fair, I'd say more recently, perhaps over the last 6 or 7 years, YouTube with tutorials. You can't beat some of the tutorials that are on YouTube. They're actually just as good as some of the classes that you could probably go to.
So maybe one day you should be filming your own tutorials to give back.
I have considered that. I might need a couple of people to come in and help with that.
Yeah.
What's your bestseller then?
Bestseller is, to be honest, it's seasonal, and it sells, well, last year the first order came in May, and they ran right the way through up until Christmas, and that was the Christmas stockings. So I must have sold hundreds and hundreds of these, and they're completely different.
That is a bit different. That's really difficult. Is that skulls on there, Julia?
Skulls on a Christmas tree.
Wow.
It's not just that one. There are many designs that can be chosen to go on that, and they're probably one of the cheaper items I do, but they sell so well they can remain cheaper.
How much are they?
They're normally £15 each, and if you buy 3, I normally do a deal of £40. But with the 3, you always get free postage, free packing and postage. So if you only buy 1 or 2, then you do pay the postage, but 3 at a time is actually more feasible to pop in the post free of charge.
Okay.
I has a question.
Go for it.
Related to this. This is for Christmas. But I think of Christmas being like the Coca-Cola sort of Santa Claus all in his red sort of thing. That's it looks a bit gothic. I mean, who's buying this? Is this like young gothic teenagers in the UK? Who's buying it? You say it's very popular.
It is very popular. You might be slightly surprised. The people that do end up buying these are normally in their mid to late 30s. They're normally female. They normally buy them for themselves. They're not actually for anybody else. They're not for the teenagers. It's quite a shock. I think it's something they perhaps missed when they were a bit younger, and then they decide that they're going to go back into kind of maybe renewing something from when they were a teen.
Some old love back from some gothic. And whereabouts in the UK do they go to?
They didn't just go to the UK. They went to Australia. Yeah. We shipped a load. I shipped a load over to Australia. We've done a few inquiries from Germany, Spain. It's anywhere really. Mostly UK, but yeah, we do get some from America as well. We've had some from the US. So
you are the international Witch of Stitch?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Great.
Okay, so if I was, how would I find out about all your products, etc. then, Juliet? Well, where would I find some images, maybe?
There's the Facebook, obviously, which is Desire Tattoo Bags. And then the website, which is www.desiretattoobagz.com. There's a few on there ready-made.
And will you be putting any images on Google Plus?
There's a few on there I really need to add to them. I've got to be honest. It's a bit lacking. I think I need to actually sit there and really really put some up on Google Plus. I know there's been a really good response. People have liked what they've seen, so I think we need to add to that.
And can you order directly through social media then, or does it have to be?
Yeah, the first point of contact is I'd say 50% of it is social media, 50% of it is one-to-one.
Yeah.
And they come through on Facebook and say, I'd like something like this, or I'd like this particular bag, can you make it again, or this item. And then we'd take it from there. Once they know what they want, there's normally a 50% deposit that's paid up front, and then the final balance must be paid within 2 weeks.
Why 50% up front?
The 50% up front covers all materials cost and part of the labour cost involved. If for whatever reason they can't pay the final balance at the end, as long as they keep me informed, we've always got something to work with. But due to my terms and conditions, if they decide they don't want to pay for it, it's too late. They've signed my terms and conditions and full balance is payable because it is a custom-made item.
So you've already spent, a lot of your own time and stuff like that.
So
that sounds like if anyone else might have been reading it and didn't know and just saw those terms and conditions without knowing anything about your business, they'd be like, oh, it's a bit strict. But I'm guessing you're not doing it for that, Juliet. I'm guessing you're doing it for your...
It's also it's trust as well. I mean, if I was going to order something that was made for me, I would expect a large retailer to want all the money up front. Now, I'm a very small person in a very large area of expertise, if you like, so I would only require somebody to pay 50%. It's partially to do with trust. I have to trust the customer to pay the full balance, but the customer has to trust me to actually deliver the item fully made at the end.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah. So it's not being unreasonable. Okay.
So I can see James.
Do you go to any trade fairs to sort of exhibit there as well?
I've done.
But not something.
I did a tattoo convention last year. There's a lot of interest, but to be perfectly honest, there isn't the money walking through the doors that you'd expect. So I tend to leave those aside for the time being. It's something that I'll perhaps look at again when things sort of pick up a little bit more. The economy itself is quite flat at the moment, and I think people spending money are spending it very, very wisely. So a one-off show it's a bit of a difficult one because they can cost an awful lot to put on, and it's really not feasible for me to be making a lot of products to show if there's nobody to buy them at the end.
No, fair enough.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I've only got one other thing I could think I'd be that I'm interested in. That sounds harsh, doesn't it? So you say you've got a lot of strings to your bow. Direction are you sort of hoping to go in the future? Where you sort of what are you channeling your focus on? What you gunning for?
I think to extend on what I already do. Although I love doing the tattoo designs, and I also have the side of me that isn't the tattoo designs, which is more, I suppose, more basic. It's the quilting side, which is patchwork, kind of, normal sort of range of stuff. I like to go into that a little bit, but not too heavily because the work involved is extensive. And maybe go into some basic teaching, so people that do want to learn can learn from a very starting position where they've never ever used a sewing machine before. They're terrified of it, but they want to learn, to sort of get someone to know how the machine works, how they can use it basically, and how they can perhaps produce a very small item of their own, just to give them a taster to see if they like the idea of doing it as a hobby, or possibly even, like I do, maybe a sideline to start off on a small business on the side.
Yeah, it is popular right now, isn't it? You see a lot of...
but there's an awful lot of people would like to do it, but they don't know how.
Have you got any examples? I know you can't show us a complete patchwork quilt, but is there any? Have you got? You're looking there.
I've got a couple of bits. The very small work is the very expensive work. So we'll start with a large piece of fabric, and you end up cutting it up to something that's probably only that size each piece.
Wow.
And then you end up putting all that together and coming up with a pattern, which is kind of like that. And then all those pieces go together, and finally you have the top of a patchwork quilt, which you're not going to be able to see, but you'll get a rough idea.
Oh,
Wow.
Very nice.
And obviously the hours involved in that are immense.
Well, how much is what's the basic price? What's the starting price? Because I guess styles are different. So what would be? Because I'm a cheapskate. What would be the cheapest one for me?
To be honest, I could probably do what you might call a lap quilt. It's quite an old-fashioned thing, but people are going back to them, especially if they're sort of just sat in the front room watching TV. Just a small quilt you'll put over your lap to keep your legs warm, basically. I could start with something that kind of size would probably retail at about £60 to £80, depending on complexity. Could be more, but I mean a really basic one, you're probably looking at around £60.
What's the complexity of the one you just held up?
That's a really hefty design. You would be looking at anywhere between, to be honest, when it's complete, I would imagine that would retail at about 650.
650.
Yeah,
For a handmade item, though.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, fabulous. Okay, Juliet. Anybody got any quick questions for Juliet before we wrap it up? And we'll grab some, some contact details, Facebook page, website address before we go. Fascinating, this is.
Yeah. Cool or kind?
Go crawl. Go on, go crawl.
Cruel. Oh, I don't know.
Okay, we'll wrap this up. Juliet, do you want to give us that website address, and can you remember your complete Facebook page address, etc.?
Not the Facebook one, no.
But we can search for it.
Yeah, you can search for it on Facebook. If you go into the search bar and you type in Desire Tattoo Bag, a little skull will appear with a small background image, so that one would be me. So you can click on that, find my page.
Darren always amuses me. Okay, well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
We've learned a little bit about Juliet tonight, and tomorrow night I think we're going to do somebody else. So thanks for your time, and we'll catch you on the other side. Good evening. Take care.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.